Hello everyone. Today we discuss about team configuration and analysis of PCB with EM Scanner. I welcome you all for this live webinar. I am Rajeshwari, application engineer. So today we are going to discuss the features of Altium Designer and Altium 365 platform. So first we'll see the agenda. Okay, so in Altium 365, along with the library and document management features, the team workflow is also being managed. Okay, this feature provides the ability to manage access and functional permissions to the users within the workspace, as well as notifications upon the changes to the documents and conflict preventions when multiple team members are working on the same project will be identified. Okay, so what are the topics we are going to see today is user management, role and group management, operational permissions, and then we are going to see this is the additional feature, that is PCB analysis in the EM Scanner. We are going to interface our Gerber file from the PCB layout to the EM Scanner, which is an additional hardware we are using. That is a separate hardware in which we are going to determine the EMI/EMC analysis. Okay, so we will see that. Finally, we have the live demo, and then if you have any questions, you can ask me at the end of the session. Okay, so first we go to the user management. So usually in the Altium 365 workspace, so the management of users are used to access to the workspace, and their related services is performed from the workspace members through this Altium 365 interface. Okay, users is simply the workspace member who will need to access to the workspace, and then the access is regulated by the login credentials. Okay, they need to sign in with the Altium, their own account. It doesn't need to be the Altium Live account. They can have their own email ID and password to log into the Altium 365. Okay, so this Altium 365 can be used to collaborate with anyone, not just the members of the organization. It can be anyone else outside the organization also. Okay, for example, it can be external contractors, or it can be a consultants, or it can be a manufacturing house to share your Gerber files. Then by using only their email ID, you can invite them for the specific project and share your project to them. Okay, that is the main thing. Then if you can see here in this picture, you can inviting your team members here and then adding the roles. Later I show you how we do that in the demo. And you can also give the permission for them to edit it. They can be within your organization or outside your organization. Okay, so when you go for the next one, roles and group management. So in Altium 365, you can also assign the roles. Okay, so the roles like nothing but admin role, librarian role, engineer role, PCB designer role. So you can customize your own roles. Okay, you can customize the roles, and then you can give the members of that roles, assign the members. You can see in the picture, you can add the role, your own roles, and then you can add the members. Who are all the members? So here you can see the admin has only one member. So like that, the engineers, you can add the users to become the members of the role, and you can give them the access. Okay, so when you go for again in the role and group management, under the admin, there is some settings you can do it, but this based on the admin role. If you take the administrator has the role of assigning the different roles. Everybody cannot assign the roles. Okay, only the admin can assign the roles, and then the admin can create the roles like your librarian roles or engineer roles or the designer roles, all these. Okay, so then as well as the admin has the right to edit or give permissions. Okay, like edit the documents or like only the view, all these can be assigned by the administrators for the particular role. Okay, so there can be a group of members in each role, and that members will be able to access within their own roles. For example, if you take administrator, so administrator can add another user to be within the group of administrator role. Okay, so that person will also have the rights to add the another user, or he can do edit the changes, whatever he want to do as an admin, he can do it. But if the admin is adding you as a normal user, like example, if he's adding you as an engineer, so this engineer role he can access within his group limits. He cannot see the admin roles. Okay, something like that. It's all happens only in the Altium 365 workspace. Okay, then operational permission support. So when you go to this operational permission support, this is for the server based. Okay, inside the Altium Designer itself, they will be seeing under the data management, this edit operation permissions. Okay, so in this page, only this administrator has the right to give access for the users or roles or collaborators to add. For example, if you see there is a component type. Okay, if this component type must be accessed by only the particular user or particular roles, so the admin can give the access right to the particular user by adding the user or role here. Okay, it's not only for the component type, lifecycle kind of definitions, add or edit lifecycle definitions, and then you can see there is a release component. Okay, so this release component or footprint or symbol, all the rights can be given again to the particular user or particular owner or particular collaborator. If you take collaborator, means all the members of that organization can edit or can do the changes. When you give rights to only the owners, means the person who created the component, a person who created the symbol is only having the right to edit or do changes. So this information is done inside the preference page under the data management server, and this can be accessed only by the admin. Okay, not by all the users. Okay, then change notifications. Okay, for example, when I create a project and the same project is placed inside the Altium 365 workspace and it's a managed project, so that the collaborators all work on the project. For example, there are 6 members. 6 members are collaborators and 3 members are working on the project. Okay, so then when 3 members are working at the same time on the same document, so what happens when the first person is doing some changes, he will be able to see this safe log. Okay, he will be able to see the safe log that he is editing and doing some changes in the design. Okay, so main important thing is all the collaborators within the same managed project has the ability to edit the project, because in Altium 365 they are all under the same version control. Okay, it's also under same version control, so they can do the changes and they can see all the informations like conflict, like log, like save options, all this. As well as below, if they see inside their own Altium Designer, the different users who are working on the same project can see this information, the name of the person who is editing the project and the name of the person who is viewing the project. Okay, this they can see it on the software. Later I show you this in the demo. Okay, so next one, conflict prevention. Okay, so when 2 persons are working on the same project, okay, the first user who is editing the project will have this soft lock. You can see the arrow mark, the soft lock will be there. So it will keep the person protected with the soft lock to work until he edit the project. Okay, the second user, when he tries to edit it, he will not be able to, he will get the information that it is logged and it is edited by the first user. But still, the second person can override and he can do the changes. And this information, the override rule, will be identified and informed to the first user as well. Okay, so this conflict prevention can be identified. Okay, so now let me go for the demo to show you about the team configuration. Okay, now I am inside this Altium Designer. So you can see my project. I'm using the workspace of Altium 365, my company server. So then on the top right corner, you can see the company server here. Okay, now I have opened with my workspace. So let me open my Altium 365 here. Okay, so I just go here open my workspace. So you can see it, I have already opened my workspace, and in my workspace, you can see the projects, the component panel, all here. Okay, since I am the admin, you can see my name and the company, and I will see this admin option. So when I click this admin, I can see the roles, all these settings, roles, all this. So when under the settings, you can see in the right hand side, there is some general informations like general, project, notification. Also, you can see there is a librarian role. Okay, this librarian role and the admin role are default, will be available. Okay, along with that, you can customize any number of roles. Mainly, the admin role can create another admin or another librarian role. And the main purpose of this librarian role is to see that add the part request, all this. For a company in the procurement department, he want to add the parts to the in the workspace. So the librarian role is very important. Okay, so now let me go first for the workspace members. Okay, this is normally like a team members, how to add in your team members. So I go to the workspace member. You can see these are all my company members. Okay, they are all under workspace. We are working as a team in our organization. They are all collaborators of the in my organization. If I want to invite, okay, so invite workspace member, you can invite here. So when you add to invite, you will see automatically add member, add role. Okay, so if for example, I want to add my colleague or somebody, okay, PCB, this is my one of my colleague here, PCB SG AD21. Okay, I'm just adding my colleague here. Okay, so you can see add. So automatically it is asking, do you want to add the role? Okay, so you can add the role, whether you want to give admin role or engineer role, any role you want to give, you can just give it up. For example, I give engineer role. Okay, if you want to add any note, this is optional. Add any note specifically to them, you can add the note as well. Okay, so when you click the invite, so you see automatically you say does not belong to our organization. So would you like to grant the user role? Okay, if they don't belong also, if I would like to invite, I can invite them. Okay, because this colleague may be in the outside the same organization, but not in the same region, maybe outside region like Malaysia or other countries. So I'm just inviting. Okay, once I invite, I can see their name. You can see the name, then the email ID, then the role. If you want to edit, you can just go and edit it, or you can remove the engineer role. Okay, that particular person. Now, once I invite them, you can see that person will receive the email. Okay, because he or she, the person will not have the access to the workspace. So I can invite them by adding them to this workspace member. So for example, if I see here, I just go here, you can see I have a, for example, go to the email, and then you can try to research here. You see, you are invited to the workspace. Okay, if you click here, you will see I have invited that particular person to the workspace. So accept invite, you can just click to accept invite and it will be opening the workspace. Okay, so they just need to sign in to open to their workspace. Okay, so you see here, the very important thing is I given them only the engineer role. I didn't give any admin role. So they will see only the details like workspace member, all these, but they don't see the admin role. Okay, they cannot edit settings, or they cannot add roles, all these. They can only see, and they can see the project shared within the collaborators. Okay, all this they can see it here. Okay, within the organization, what are the projects we shared within the organization, they can see it here. So this is the main thing. Okay, so now let me go to my so this is my workspace. So in my workspace, I would like to show you how to add the roles. If you want to add the roles, you can go for admin. Under the admin, you can see the roles. Okay, here you can see add role. So now, as of now, I have 2 administrators. So if you want to access and edit it, you can just click here and go to edit, so that you can see who are all the members of the admin role. Okay, so this 2 persons have the right to edit and add the new persons, give the rights, and they have all the access with the Altium 365. But when I go to the engineer role, if you see, you can have only the role. You can see the role name, the email address. If I want to add the member, I can add the member. Or if I want to delete the member also, I can delete the member. And then you can also give them the rights whether they want to edit or they want to view only. So all this within the group members, they can control. Okay, so the two engineers within the group, they can control by adding the rights in the components panel, by giving edit or only view on the components. All these can be done. Okay, so there is a customized adding roles. Here you can see the manager role. So these are all customized roles we can create by adding the new roles. How many roles you want, you can create it and add the members to the roles. Okay, so you can do this. Then the next thing is, when I go to the software, I have shared this project. Okay, I have shared this project to my team. So I shared this project to my team, and then I open my colleagues here. For example, let me show there. I opened here. I have shared to my colleague. You can see my colleague name here. And then once I shared, she has received this, and you can see all the collaborators we can see here receive the same project. Okay, so once we have shared this and we want to edit between each other, okay, this is shared under the version control inside the Altium 365 workspace. So they can open this project, and then you can see they open this project in the editor, and then they can do the changes. Okay, so now my colleague has opened it here inside another version. You can see it's another version, but please don't try to open the different users in the same PC. As for Webmina, I just opened it. You can use it in the different PC. Okay, so my colleague here, she has opened this project to edit it. So on the top right corner, the very important thing to avoid the conflict between the two users, you can see on the top right corner. You see my name. My name is, I am editing this, but actually it is under my colleague. Okay, this is my colleague's one, but it shows I'm editing this project. Okay, as well as when you go to my site, you can also see my colleague name. She is also editing. So when both of them, it shows editing. So it will create the conflict, and then it will show the message. Okay, this is to show the conflict, what they are doing inside the same project, as it is shared under the version control as a managed project. Okay, within the same document. So it will give the information, like you can see inside the project panel, it will show the messages, what is happening here, and who is editing, who is viewing, and it will say it is log, soft log will be identified when the person is editing on the project, to protect it from the other users to edit and overrule it. Okay, so these things can be done. So this is about your team configuration, what you can do within your own organization. Now, one more feature I would like to show you is about the editing operations. Okay, editing operation is to be controlled by the admin. So for example, now let me see, this is my account. So I go to, as I'm an admin, I go to the preference. Okay, under the preference, the data management server, you can see there is a workspace. This is my workspace, and under the properties, you will see there is an operation. Okay, so in this operation, you can see edit operation permissions. So this is for workspace edit operation permissions. I can give the rights to who can edit or who can add in their component types or life cycle definitions or revision names, then the release, who can release the component or footprints, all this. So for example, I want to release a symbol, somebody I want to allow to release a symbol. So click symbol, you will see. So first I'm allowing all the collaborators of my company to release the symbol. Okay, then if you don't want, you can go here, add the owner. So owner is nothing but the person who create the particular symbol. Okay, I'm giving permission for the owner to release the symbol for the Altium 365 workspace. Okay, then you can give the permission to the role. If I give the permission to the role, for example, I give the engineer role, okay, permission to release the symbol. Okay, so select the engineer role, Okay. Then you see the engineer role. Again, if you want to add the user, you can add the user. Okay. In the engineer, to whom you want to give permission to release, you can give the permission to them. Okay. All this can be done only by the admin. Okay. For example, if the same I do for my colleague here, this is under my colleague account. So you can see she is not the admin actually. So let me see under the preference, under the data management server. So if you go to the properties, you see her operation doesn't is highlighted, is grayed out. So meaning that the person who is not an admin will not be able to edit the operations. Only the admin will be able to edit the operation, so that can give the permissions, can control the server organization. Okay. So this is about your team configuration as a overall how to work inside the Altium 365 workspace as well as inside your Altium Designer. Okay, so next I want to show you the one more feature is based on my EM scanner. Okay, so this EM scanner is a near field measurement tool. Why I bring this interface of EM scanner is how to link the Altium Designer to this EM scanner. EM scanner is a hardware setup which is mainly used to find the frequencies of interest and the current loops in my PCB design layout. Okay, so this EM scanner is a scanning device. Okay, for high frequency scanner which is used to determine and pinpoint the problematic frequencies of interest, and then to determine the highest amplitude of distortion, okay, for the device under test. Okay, it is a hardware setup. So I'm going to show you the results in the software. I have a EM viewer software for it. I'm going to show the analysis result for that particular same PCB design layout, which I shared in the Altium 365. Okay, if you see what are the benefits of this EM scanner is, it is a benchtop solution. You can use it in your own lab. Okay, own lab, you can place it under, you can keep checking your design again and again to find out what is the problem within a fraction of seconds. Okay, and then identify the issue and the designer can solve it immediately and then do the rescan of the design. Okay, so the only thing requirement is he can use the Gerber file which he generated in the Altium Designer and use that Gerber file to bring it inside this EM scanner as a layout, as an overlay. Okay, overlay. And then as a hardware setup, I have my PCB on the hardware setup, and for the software to see the location of pinpoint of the problem, I am using this Gerber file. Okay, so bring the Gerber file and then do the analysis to find out the exact location of the problem. Okay, so let me show you the configuration. So the EM scanner configuration setup is something like this. So you can see my EM scanner board here. So this is the board which is having the probes. Okay, so H field probes are here to capture the magnetic field above the EM scanner, and this data will be transferred to the spectrum analyzer to determine the frequencies of interest. At what frequencies we have the amplitude of distortions, and this data will be transferred to your software in the PC using your EM Expert software. Okay, so here you will be seeing the graph with the different frequencies and different amplitude of distortion. Okay, so then the results in the real-time scanning is a real-time scanning can do continuous scanning to find out where it has the maximum amplitude of distortion and where it is a minimum amplitude of distortion and the moderate amplitude of distortion. This helps the designers to exactly pinpoint the maximum radiation place and then immediately solve the problem. Okay, so let me go for the demo and show you how it works. So this is my EM viewer software. Already I have my setup. Okay, the hardware setup, I have the EM scanner, my spectrum analyzer. I'm using the spectrum analyzer is FSH8. It's R&S spectrum analyzer. So here I'm just going to add a node and show you. Okay, so I'm just adding a node, spectral spatial node, and then you can set up your own frequency. So for example, I'm using 10 to 100 megahertz. Okay, so you 10 to 100 megahertz and the resolution bandwidth. So you can set your resolution bandwidth according to your design. Normally, your resolution bandwidth should be lower to get the highest accuracy of your results. Okay, so I just put 120 kilohertz, and then you can also set your reference level. What should be the maximum amplitude of distortion you want to measure? Okay, then spectral spatial scan probes. You need to select the probe because I say it is a EM scanner, the board. You need to select the probes to activate. That is, you have to activate the probes to do the scan at that probes only. Totally, I have 1218 probes here, 1218 probes. I no need to activate all the probes. So I can select only certain probes here. So let me select where I place my PCB. This is the location I place my PCB. So I'm selecting only these probes. Okay, so this is the location in my hardware setup. I have placed my PCB. So I'm selecting this area, and then I want to place the overlay. So overlay is usually I have brought in here is a Gerber file. So I just place this overlay exactly here. So you can see I perfectly placed here. Okay. So once I place the overlay, apply, you can see the probes on. So I have activated only 64 probes. Okay, so when you do the scan, it will scan only the 64 probes. And what does the capture the signal above the EM scanner of this board alone. Okay, so let me click OK. Now you will see the spectral and spatial scan. So spectral scan is to scan with the range of frequencies to determine the amplitude of distortion. Spatial scan is to get the scan of on one required frequency, what is the maximum amplitude of distortion for that frequency for the board. Okay, usually the spectral scan will take a while, but spatial scan will be very fast. So let us see combined of these two now. Okay, I just click on scan. You can see setting the spectrum analyzer. So you can see the scan. Let me zoom it. So now you can see on the top, in the spectral side, you can see what is the amplitude of distortion is during the scan. It keeps changing until it finishes. And then what is the frequency have set. And then you can see the resolution bandwidth, the attenuator value, then the EM scanner. So you can see right bottom corner, the scan has completed. Okay, so it is done within a fraction of seconds. Okay, we set the frequency to be 10 to 100 megahertz, and you will see the lot of harmonics here. Okay, harmonic band of frequencies and the amplitude of distortions. And then here in the right hand side in the spatial scan, you can also see there is only a certain area has the highest radiation, and some moderate radiations are there, and the other areas there is no radiation. Okay, so let me zoom into the maximum radiation area. Okay, so now let me go to the let me go to the spectral radiation side. Here, if I zoom in and see first harmonic, you can see at row 11, column I, you can see the amplitude of maximum amplitude of distortion is 15 with the frequency is 24 megahertz. Okay, so let me go for reset. Then the second one, again, if you go here, it is 36. So the second harmonic is 20, first harmonic is 24, second harmonic is 36. Okay, it is again row 9, column 9. So that location, based on the row and column location, we can go to the board and then find out whether it is due to the component or whether it is due to the radiation, due to noise of the surroundings or the temperature. So we have to identify, okay, the location. Again, you see the third harmonic is again row 11, column I, amplitude of distortion. So the third harmonic is 48. So 24, 36, 48. So the harmonics are regular harmonics. Then you can see the next one is 60. Okay, so like this, we can go the highest amplitude of distortion is this point, and it is at 9, column I, just 24.7. So you can see on the top. So 24.7 is the maximum amplitude of distortion. Okay, so coming to the right hand side, you will see here, when I move my mouse, you can see, so what is the maximum amplitude of distortion? This will identify the exact location. Is you can see this point. So this point, you can see the component. It shows row 9, column I. So the row 9, column I have a component here. Okay, I have a capacitor. Okay, so the capacitor, I think the capacitor is affecting at this point. So we need to replace the capacitor. You can replace the capacitor by using a ferrite rod to reduce the as a high frequency suppressor. Okay, ferrite rod can be used, or decoupling capacitors you can use as a high frequency suppressor. Otherwise, you can also use the shielding box, okay, at a certain area to reduce the highest amplitude of radiation at that point. Okay, so you can do that to avoid this radiation. Okay, so these things can be done, and you can see on the top it is again maximum is in the spatial also you have 24.7 decibel microvolt. If I want to see this output in the 3D view, you can see it in the 3D view as well. So you can rotate it, or you can see, you can just make the 3D view to find out where is the maximum amplitude of distortion. Since you have the Gerber file here, this Gerber overlay will help you to identify the exact location in the 3D view, whether it is a component or the radiation where the exact pinpoint showing here. Okay, so you can see it in the 3D view or 2D view. Okay, and then if you want to generate the report for this EMI results, okay, where the amplitude of radiation. So to get the results, you can go for again the project. You can go for add node report generator. Okay, so why we are generating is actually this EM scanner will help you to find the EMI EMC issues before going for your anechoic chamber. Okay, normally if you go for chamber, it takes time, and then you have to wait in the queue until they do the analysis, find out the problem for you. But this EM scanner is one-time investment you can buy, and then you can do it in your own lab. Okay, so you can also generate the report. So example here, let me generate the report. You can see when I click to generate the report, it will automatically generate the report for you in the Word document. Okay, so you can see the reports here. So I didn't select the, sorry. Let me go here. Report generator. I have to select here. Okay, generate report. So you can see the report. Yeah, this is correct now. So you will see the details. So your report, the company name, the date, and then you can see the spectral spatial scan data, then the scan description, all the informations you can see it here. So what spectrum analyzer I'm using, all you can see it because I have linked my spectrum analyzer to the EM scanner. Then the spectral scan, what is the amplitudes of distortion, at what frequencies we have, all the information here, as well as the spatial scan. You can see what is the maximum amplitude of distortion, resolution, bandwidth, all this. Okay, the last page you can write your own report and submit it off. Okay, so you can do this inside your EM scanner. Okay, I think I have finished. So thank you for attending the webinar. If you want to know more detail about this EM scanner, you can please contact us at sales@pcbgt.com.sg so that I can get back to you and I can give you a demo and I can clarify whatever the doubts or questions you have at any time. Okay, so thank you very much for attending.